the Sports Betting Network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is A Numbers Game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Wednesday morning to you. This is A Numbers Game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, Sirius XM Channel 158. It's Gil Alexander. Kelly Bidlin with a freshly brushed beard moments ago.
What's up, dude? I'm just going to hide it with the microphone. That's what I'll do this first.
You were totally in your seat 5 seconds before this.
Yeah.
Well done. I don't need the 90-degree one straight hair sticking out, so I appreciate it.
It had a fadeaway thing going on today and a dimple. That's what happens when you fall asleep on the couch.
When you shaving that thing? When do you think? What do you think?
Never. I don't know.
Never?
I don't know. You know how many people would freak out if I just walked in with a shaved baby face tomorrow?
You're scared to know what you look like, huh?
Well, maybe there's a little bit of that, too. Most people think I've had this forever, though. Like, I didn't start growing it till I took the job at VSiN.
Yeah, well, I'm sure this is a fascinating conversation for me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Jason Weingarten on the show today to give us all his plays from under a cloud of smoke. AJ Scholes, Scholes as you pronounce it. I'm trying to claim him or something. AJ Scholes, co-host of Puckcast, talks some NHL playoffs with us. JVT will join us to talk National Basketball Association. Do we need to get his was it rigged or not rant? Do people need to hear that again? Maybe they do.
I don't know. I think it's been a thing on Money Moves.
He's kind of angry about it. The people who claim that it is. We'll get to him. You thought I was bending over to allow for a little bit of it. He allows for no possibility of a rigging. PGA Championship preview. That is the main thing. We are 24 hours away from golf's second major of the year. Will Hill will join us to give us all his bets, NBA and Major League Baseball. And you can bet on this. Where will Giannis play next season?
Bum, bum, bum.
The Bucks are the favorite?
Bucks are the favorite.
Really? Do you believe that?
I mean, he has to be traded. It's always one of those situations, right? So I think they should be the favorite.
Okay. We'll get into that. That's a little portent of things to come. The NBA last night, ladies and gentlemen, my goodness. I don't know. Those who say that the NBA playoffs has not lived up to the billing, they probably aren't watching the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
Yeah, I don't either. The Indiana Pacers are the first to advance to the conference finals, East or West. They do so by beating the Cavs in 5. 114-105 winners yesterday. They were 8.5-point dogs. They not only cover, they win it outright. And they do so, once again, with style. Cavs led by as many as 14 in the first quarter. They led by 12 after the first. They led by as many as 19 to the Cavaliers in the second quarter. And then with 8:20 left, they led 44-25. Pacers then went on a 27-9 run. That cut the lead to 1. Cavs led by 4 at the half. Halliburton, by the way, in that run, he had 17 points at the half. But in that run, he had 4 3-pointers in a 2.5-minute span. It was just incredible. Cavs ended up going back up 9 in the third quarter, 63-54 with 9:44 left. But then it was all Pacers. They took their first lead at 65-64 with 7:04 left in the third. They extended it to 10 as part of a 21-2 run. 21-2. That's pretty good. 2:41 left in the quarter. The Cavs didn't get a field goal for a 7-minute-plus span.
That'll hurt you, Gil.
That is not good basketball. Pacers would extend it to 12 during that quarter. They'd lead by 9 after 3. Cavs got into it with a 5-point play when Hunter made a 3, got fouled, missed the free throw. They got the rebound. They put in a bucket from Garland, so they got it within 1 with 9:24 to go, but they'd never get over the hump. They would never, ever take the lead despite being down 1 there. Pacers would get it back up to 9, 106-97 with 2:38 left, down 106-100 with 149 left. This was pretty much the biggest moment, or at least the one that will be etched in Cavaliers fans, I think, for the offseason. 106-100, 149 left, you're down 6. Donovan Mitchell fouled behind the arc. Misses not 1, not 2, but all 3 free throws.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Oh, boy. Cleveland would get the ball back. He'd hit a 3 to cut it to 3, but then Nembhard 3 the hard way to get it back to 6, and it was Katie barred the door after that. Pacers win at 114-105. Your 64-win Cleveland Cavaliers, dunzo. And the Pacers on their way to taking on the winner of either the Knicks or the Celtics. That, of course, is in Game 5 tonight. Game 5 tonight back in Boston without Jason Tatum. who, yes, it was confirmed ruptured his Achilles, and the Knicks up 3-1. How about them Pacers?
Yeah, man, really impressive. Look, I mean, impressive season from them. I think both these teams have kind of been, when you look at postseasons past, it's, okay, how far can the Pacers really go, get back to another Eastern Conference Finals? Have they outplayed their ability? I think this season is a better example of where this team can be and where they're truly at. There's so much talent on this team. They've been kind of frustrating in the past. Halliburton hasn't had consistent games. He started to put it together the back half of this regular season and into the playoffs. Been great. And for the Cavs, man, it's tough. I'm not gonna hate on him too much here, Gil. Like, it was an amazing regular season. You got caught with injuries here at a bad time, and
can we talk about that for a second, though, too? Because I have said on this show, I was like, poor Cavs fans, poor Warriors fans, and now one could say, oh, poor Celtics fans, obviously moving forward with Jason Tatum. But let's kind of be honest about this. The Celtics, in the case of Tatum, it was seconds away from being 3-1 in that series. With Tatum completely on the court the whole time until he ruptured the Achilles. So obviously the injury there didn't matter into what that series is to date. With the Pacers, Darius Garland didn't play in Game 1. Pacers crushed them. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter, the three of them didn't play in Game 2. That was the one where they built a 20-point lead. The Pacers came all the way back and beat them. And then the Donovan Mitchell injury, the last game, they were already getting housed. Right? By halftime, the game was over. So I'm not sure. I mean, I do feel bad for Cleveland. On the other hand, I'm not so sure the outcome of this, you can make a credible argument that it would have changed.
Oh, no, I think that's kind of where, I think you just laid out the injury stuff perfect. Some of that mattered more than others, right? Like Donovan Mitchell, I'm not sure how much that ended up mattering.
Well, what I'm getting at is I think the only one of these where the fan base can legitimately say, yeah, I mean, what are we supposed to do, is the Steph one, right? That's the only one. The Warriors are up 1-0. He gets hurt in the first quarter of the next game, or was it the second quarter? I can't remember. And that completely changes everything with that team because that team is not as talented, right,
sure,
as the other one.
And Tatum, it happens too late to really matter. Yes, I agree with that.
So as sucky it is for those teams, technical term, for all these injuries, I only think in the case of the Warriors did it ultimately matter.
This is where, I think this is in between.
Maybe.
I mean, this is
maybe
you
we'll
play
never
game
know.
2 without 3 of your best 5 players. Garland missing multiple games, and he had a massive season for them. It's just. Because, Gil, I'm somewhere in between on that. I don't want to take away any credit from this Pacers team because even if all those guys were healthy, I'm not saying we're sitting here today that the Cavs would have definitely have won this series. So it's tough, but from the Cleveland side of things, if you're a Cleveland fan, Cleveland backer, man, this is another playoffs where it just all goes wrong. It all goes wrong, and it's maybe for a different reason this time around, but it's just. It's got to get frustrating after a regular season like that.
Tied for the third most regular season wins without getting to at least a conference final, these 64-win Cavaliers. And then last night, the only series that was 2-2 in the conference semifinals, OKC and Denver. What a ball game. OKC jumped out quick, 12-2 lead. Denver erased it immediately, 18-4. They on a 16-2 run made it 18-14 Denver. Nuggets would have an 11-point lead during the second quarter, but a 9-0 run by OKC to wrap up the quarter made it just a 2-point Denver lead at halftime. But then the Nuggets opened up a 12-point lead, 80-68 with 5:05 left in the third. They led by 8 after 3. OKC would get it to 92-92 with just under 6 minutes left. They took the lead at 98-96. OKC up 103-100. This was the moment where most people just went ballistic. It was unbelievable. Jokic, a turnaround off one leg turnaround jumper from the top of the key for 3.
I don't even know how much of the rim he even saw when he released it.
And tied it up at 103 with 140 left in the game, and that was maybe the most awesome moment for Denver, but it was the last moment for Denver because from there on, an 8-0 OKC run to ice it. Jalen Williams 3 put him up 106-103. A Porter Jr. missed, then SGA 3, 109-103. Porter Jr. and Gordon missing threes, followed by 2 SGA free throws, 111-103 with 22 seconds left. 112-105 is your final. A 34-19 fourth quarter for Oklahoma City. Jokic 44-15-5 in defeat SGA 31-6-7 in victory. Just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you know, game fives in series that are 2-2, usually a portent of things to come. Would you take a flyer on the Nuggets 25-1 to win the title?
No, but I don't hate it. Like, I wouldn't personally. Obviously, I've got a ton of Thunder's tickets. I don't hate it, though. I think I will be betting because of my Thunder tickets. I think I have to do this on the money line, but I will, so I don't middle myself. I think I'll be betting Nuggets in Game 6. I think we're going 7 in the series. But this is...
I really want it to go 7. I just want to see it.
I am terrified if it does, Gil. Like, I don't know. I feel I definitely lean Denver in Game 6. I might just be rooting for my futures tickets and hoping and praying this doesn't go to Game 7. But to back up the Thunder, we talked about this the other day. Massive fourth quarter in Game 3.
34-19 last night in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Massive fourth quarter. I'm sorry, Game 4. Massive fourth quarter in Game 4 to keep this series alive. It felt like if the Nuggets won that, it felt like all this momentum was going to swing Denver's way. And another fourth quarter last night where they're down entering it. And credit to Lou Dort, who didn't see a second in Game 4 in the fourth quarter, nailing those 3 threes to make it a game again. This team might be growing up in front of our eyes, Gil, because some of these concerns we've had has been a lot about the playoff maturity.
Teams who trail at the half in this NBA playoffs.
Incredible.
Now 45-21-1. That's 68%. 45-21-1 against the second half spread this year's postseason. 10 in a row, by the way, since May 9th. Thank you to Evan Abrams for that little tidbit. We'll come back. Tonight's games in the NBA. Some bets, perhaps, or not. We shall see. That's next. Numbers Game. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Oh, look!
Oh, wow, look at that! Derek, what's the guarantee? Derek?
Time to make history. Millions are calling. Look for the Circa Million and Circa Survivor Guarantee on May 22nd, 2025. 2 ways to win. Millions guaranteed. 100% payback.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
Coming up on the next edition of Follow the Money, can the Knicks finish off the Celtics? Also, Minnesota's up 3-1 and laying double digits against the Warriors. 2 games in the NHL. Pivotal Game 5 between Florida and Toronto. And the Oilers look to close out Vegas. A lot of day games in Major League Baseball. And Jeff Seeley, who had Straka last week, will give out his best bets for the upcoming PGA Championship. Paul Bovey also live from New York, and Matt Humans. Follow the Money 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, now Sirius XM Channel 158.
VSiN, the sports betting network.
Don't forget, VSiN.com, always available to you. Today, you can check out Mr. Ed's Preakness Stakes horse profiles. Hey, Mr. Ed, I didn't know that. Mike Somich's Preakness Post Pace Report, Wes Reynolds' PGA Championship Preview, and later today you can check out Jonathan Davis's NHL Props and Picks, Zach Cohen's NBA Best Bets, Tyler Shoemaker's WNBA MVP Picks. Right now you can sign up for our annual subscription, get 14 months for only $199 with promo code PRO. Just head to VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up today. Skill Alexander, we get tweets at Beating the Book. Rick Oley, I think what most people fail to understand is that the Pacers are built to win in 7-game series. Teams aren't built to play this speed every other night over a series. Mix in nagging injuries and Pacers' depth, and they're a nightmare matchup for most. Cavs were gassed. Rick, great point.
It's the coolest thing about watching them right now. It's when we've gotten so used to the NBA when we get into the postseason of half-court offense mattering so much that we see these. It's why totals go lower, right? The pace slows down, possessions slow down. Everyone becomes so much more important, and it's so fun to watch the Pacers, Gil, where it is, okay, you're going to make a layup or a dunk on us. We look at that as an advantage because we're inbounding the ball right away, and whoever's just dunking and still hanging on the rim, you're playing 5-on-4 now. And then the other way, as soon as they score, they're pressing the ball right away. It's fun to watch. You don't see it often in the NBA.
You think the rest of the league regrets doing that overrated poll on Halliburton?
I don't know, man. It's been a thing with... You know what? No, I'm sure they don't regret it. And, even Halliburton, there was a great story in The Ringer, it was like a couple weeks ago, just Halliburton talking about kind of some of the mental stuff he's had to go through the past couple years and where he's at a total different mindset now with his game.
Pacers reaching the conference finals in consecutive years for the first time since 2013 and 2014. Indiana, the first team since seeding began in 1984 to reach the conference finals in consecutive years as a 4-seed or lower. Both times, that according to ESPN research. What about tonight's games before we move on to the tennis pick that remains today? The May wins update and a little Giannis prop. Boston, 4.5-point favorites tonight, Kelly. Game 5. They try to stave off elimination, of course, without Jason Tatum. That's why that's down to 4.5. And then in a potential closeout, Minnesota on their home court trying to close out the Warriors. That is a 10.5-point spread. Total 202.5. Any plays on these games tonight?
I don't have anything yet. I'm going back and forth on this Boston-New York one. The side in Golden State, Minnesota, it's Warriors or nothing.
Warriors or nothing. I agree.
You're talking about a total that's barely over 200. You're catching 11 points. It's Warriors or nothing on that one. I don't think I'm going to get there, but it would be Warriors or nothing there. This Celtics-Knicks game is fascinating to me. I might take one more stab at the Boston Celtics before I expect the Knicks to close this out in Game 6.
Just keep running your head into that side of the mountain.
No, it's one of those, the whole fallen hero thing. Does this Boston team show up and play a little bit better with Tatum out? I could see that happening tonight. So I don't know. Nothing in the accounts yet. Might be a stay away on all the both of these tonight, but I'll tell you, for the contest, I got to start making some picks.
I was just about to say for the contest, what Kelly's referring to, the VSiN Killer Sports NBA Playoff Challenge, the brainchild of Carl Sack. Steve Fezzik in the lead, by the way, at 19-10. Zach Cohen just one game back at 18-11.
Dang, he keeps racking up wins.
Doug Kazarian a half game behind Zach at 17-11. They are 1-2-3. I was just going to say, I'm glad I only have one play left this round because this is slim pickings now. This is tough to even come up with the play in these last games.
Was it yesterday or Monday on the show when I brought up, I'm like, dude, I got like 3 or 4 more left to go, and I'm getting worried.
You got a lot left.
I still have 3 left, and I'm like
many.
looking at the board. I'm like, I gotta force. I have to force stuff now.
Yeah, Kelly, where are you right now? You're in 6th place, tied for 6th.
The real quick before we move on, Pacers. Probably a bet for me in the Eastern Conference Finals.
So I was going to say, Pacers, Knicks, who's the favorite in that series? The Knicks will be a favorite, huh?
The Hardwood Handicappers trio were kicking this one around last night. I believe JVT talked to Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate, too, and we kind of had price pretty much same. I was guessing, me and JVT were guessing -140. Zach was guessing a little bit higher. Thought that Knicks bias would come into play a little bit more at -180. Sounds like it's going to be probably about -140, 150 on the Knicks.
Yeah, I'll be on the Pacers.
I'll be in on the Pacers.
Yep. Real quick, we have one tennis play left today. Hit Coco Golf earlier this morning, VSiN.com/picks. for all subscribers, every host, every guest, every sport. You heard me mention I was going to be on golf yesterday when Drew was on as well. So Coco wins. We went 2-0 yesterday. Coco wins this morning. We have one tennis play left today, and that is the over in games in the Arena Sabalenka Qinwen Zhang match. Qinwen Zhang, Qinwen, last name Zhang. It's a Sabalenka match. That's all you have to know. Over 21 games. Sabalenka has dominated her in the few times they've played before, but never have they played on clay. So I expect this to be much more competitive. Over 21 games. That's a ladies' semi. Is that a semi or a quarter? It's a quarter, pardon me. Ladies' quarter in Rome in the Italian Open. Added more to Jackson Merrill MVP, by the way. Added another 25-1 last night.
It jumped all the way down there?
Yeah, added another one. He did not get a hit last night, though, so I added the 25. So 80-1, 50-1, 25-1. Pacers plus 191. My plus 191 series price from after game one cashes. Cha-ching. Still have that Nuggets plus 267, though. They're down 3-2. That's not looking as great right at this moment. As far as the Padres, as I mentioned with Jackson Merrill, the Padres May wins. Padres do get a win yesterday at home against the Angels in dramatic fashion, and it required the Angels to be a little league team, throwing the ball around the yard. A couple wild pitches scored runs for the Padres. And then at 4-4 in the ninth, Fernando Tatis, 2-run bomb. Padres win. Padres in sixth right now. So this is an interesting day because two teams at the top, the Cardinals and the Twins, 9-2 and 8-2 respectively, they both got rained out in their respective games yesterday. So both of those teams play double headers today. So we shall see where this cookie crumbles after today. Padres, their final game against the Angels tonight in San Diego, which I'm told means Padres. So Padres 7-4. So again, 15 games left after the Angels. These are the remaining teams they play. They play the Mariners, they play the Blue Jays, they play the Braves, and then they close easy with the Marlins and Pirates. So let's go, Padres. Let's get these wins, man. Come on.
Let's go, Fathers.
Come on, Fathers.
Get it together.
Again, William Hill Caesar stuck for 6 figures, Circus stuck for 6 figures. Let's do it all together. Okay, Giannis. Back to basketball for a second. Where will Giannis Antetokounmpo play next year? First regular season minute played for which team? It's down to that kind of language. Where will he play his first, for what team will he play his first regular season minute? Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that if he got hurt after 30 seconds and then he played for a different team after that this wouldn't count? I don't know why they worded it that way. Anyway, Bucks.
They tried to do the whole first snap thing. That one, one year that, who was it?
Ronnie Brown? With the Dolphins?
But I feel like it happened once they started posting like the first snap stuff, and then it didn't go to a quarterback somehow. So they're trying to be as specific as possible.
I don't think we really have to do this with basketball, but okay. Bucks minus 145, where Giannis plays currently, obviously. Bucks minus 145 is the favorite. Here is next on the list, though, the Spurs at plus 350. Again, the Spurs have not only the second pick in the draft per the lottery, they also have the 14th pick in the draft, courtesy of the Atlanta Hawks and the DeJounte Murray trade. They also have the reigning Rookie of the Year in Stephon Castle as perhaps trade assets for a Giannis trade, potentially. Rockets are 7-1. They're the next team in this. Could they use Giannis? Darn right they could. By the way, Rockets don't seem to share the love for Kevin Durant that Kevin Durant seems to love them with. They're like, I don't know about you, KD. Mavericks are next, though. The Mavericks have the first pick in the draft. They're 12-1. So it goes Bucks, Spurs, Rockets, Mavericks. And then way down on the list at 30-1 is the Thunder, who, again, we had a bit of a discussion yesterday about this. If the Thunder were to somehow get bounced early, might they be interested in trading all of their draft picks and some players for Giannis? Where's the bet, sir?
I mean, if I had to make one sitting here today, it would probably just be on the Bucks at a short price for him to come back there and play. I mean, again, he has to be traded. So there's even a chance. I mean, think about this is where the wording becomes important. Like, he'd have to get moved this summer, right? The Bucks could theoretically hold on to him and then trade him in season too. It's hard to figure out exactly what they're thinking timeline.
That's the rub there. Yeah. That's the rub.
So it's hard to really figure out what they're thinking timeline-wise. And the other part that's tough for me as a huge Giannis fan, is to try to put myself in the front office shoes, the shoes of the front office in Milwaukee, where you're just this is where the Dallas getting the number 1 pick and the Thunder possibly being an option is huge, because it's so hard to sit there and think you're getting remotely close to fair value back for Giannis.
Oh, you can't.
You're just trying to get something before the guy walks out on his own, right? So I think that's tough, and Milwaukee's going to have to get over that. If I had to make a bet today, it'd probably be the Brooklyn Nets at 30-1, just seeing a longer number with a bunch of things that they have the ability to piece together. I think that would be the best bet on the board if you had to bet something right now. I'd love to see him in San Antonio.
I'm going to say Mavericks 12-1.
Okay.
Hey, Nico,
does that involve the first overall pick?
Yes, it does. Of course, it does. If you meant what you said before, the defense wins championship, and you obviously want to take away the stench of the Luka trade. There's your move, man. 12-1.
Love it.
By the way, Kelly, just for the record, said he's a big Yuckus fan. In case you missed that. Coming back with Will Hill next.
And they're off.
If you're serious about betting this season, it's time to go pro. Right now, you can score 14 months of VSiN Pro for just $199. That's 2 extra months on us. We're talking daily best bets, exclusive splits from DraftKings and Circa, full access to the VSiN Watch app, and all of our betting guides, including the Kentucky Derby and the big one, the NFL betting guide. But don't wait, this offer's gone May 31st. Head over to vsin.com/subscribe and use the code PRO, P-R-O, to lock it in and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Check out the sharp plays, unmatched transparency with records updated daily, AI betting analysis, real-time global betting information, and alerts directly from the pros. We invite you to take a look at sharpplays.com. It's Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin alongside, of course, on a numbers game. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Paul M. Last 2 games, Denver bench a total of 18 points, and Westbrook 18 points in his last 3 games. Conversely, OKC 57 points from the bench in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's a spot they should have had an advantage at all series long. It's good for my brain that Russell Westbrook has started to look like Russell Westbrook again at his age and not like hitting every corner 3 that's available to him. My brain was having trouble processing that, Gil. I believe it was outside of Jokic, 1 for 15 from every other Denver Nugget in the fourth quarter last night?
Outside of Jokic and Murray, I believe.
Jokic and Murray?
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so. Steve the Proxy. Hey, what's happening, Steve? As a Knicks fan, I'm going to assume the Eastern Conference Final versus the Pacers is what's going to happen. Are you ready for 2 weeks of insufferable interviews and highlights? Oh, you're so right. Of Spike and Reggie Miller. You think NBC might overplay that angle? Oh, my God, yes. We absolutely will.
It's probably like three mini documentaries in the works already just to set it up.
Have you seen Reggie Miller score 8 points real quick?
Yeah.
Watch it again. Johnny Ringo, the difference between the Eastern Conference semis and the Eastern Conference Finals. Guess what the answer is, Kelly. Classic case of the Cavs and the Cavs knots, he says. Oh, hey-oh.
Yeah, let's see what you did there. That's pretty good.
Dad jokes on my Twitter feed. Nice job, Johnny Ringo. Las Vegas 514, yo. The 14th of May, yes, today, is a very special day. He's right. PASPA was overturned 8 years ago today. 7 years ago today, pardon me. 7 years ago today, PASPA was overturned. And this is Las Vegas 514 talking, and my sports betting life changed forever. Did I mention it's also my birthday? Thanks for you and young Kelly for being the gift that keeps on giving. What a nice tweet. Thank you, Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's awesome.
514, yeah, 7 years ago this morning, producer number 3 and I, the great Georgie Bueno, Jorge Mondaca and I, we did a numbers game at that time, and the Supreme Court revealed the cases that they would be ruling on at exactly 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, and they would pull these things out of a box. That's how high tech it is, right? They'd pull the subjects out of the box, and Jorge would have to, every time that there was a date where we knew that the Supreme Court was going to reveal whether or not they were going to rule on cases, we would have to prepare 2 shows. One would be our normal show, and the second show would be in case they decide to rule on sports betting. And so this happened a few dates beforehand, and then on May 14th, 2018, Jorge, with his back to the basket, I'm being the basket, he looked at it, he turns around, and if he could have gone ashen white, Georgie Bueno would have been ashen white, and it was the morning, and it was overturned, and so we did a whole show, and it was amazing. It was amazing in real time. Now, we could argue about what's ensued from there, but that's a whole nother subject for another day. Let's talk every sport, everything he's betting with Will Hill, everybody. He's the host of the Should Have Bet More podcast, and of course also the star of the Megapod, the star of Chris Felica's Bear Bets podcasts, and he does, of course, a regular show now on VSiN Thursday and Friday nights. Yes, Will?
Yeah, VSiN primetime Thursdays and Fridays with Matt Humans, and then live bet Saturday, live bet Sunday on the weekend. So busy. It's been fun.
It's Will Hill, everybody, in case you didn't understand who I was talking about here. All right, let's start with the NBA. It is the business end of the conference semifinals. Doesn't make the betting easier, in my humble opinion. What about you? Got anything tonight?
We'll start with the bad. We talked this time last week, Gilly, and I think I texted you right after Curry got hurt, and I said, I had the Warriors. I bet the Warriors 60-1 to win it all right before the deadline. Of all things, thinking Durant to the Warriors was possible. I said, this is not good. I was skeptical that they could win a game without Curry, and they almost did on Saturday in Game 3, and that felt like really, even at the time, that was the one they had to get. They're just so undermanned, overmatched. I would actually lay it here with Minnesota. I would go back to Warriors team total under 95.5. It bit me in Game 4. They went way over, but under in Game 2, under in Game 3. They just don't have any shooting. It's you hope Hield gets hot. You hope Podziemski gets hot. Butler is such a strange player. Some nights he can do it, and then some nights he gives you the 14 points he gave you in Game 4. That's going to be a raucous home crowd. How about Minnesota, a franchise that has not had a lot of success historically? Chance to go to back-to-back conference finals and really surprising conference finals appearances each year. So It's just, I think it's going to be a coronation tonight. I would look to lay it with Minnesota and go under 95.5 the team total with Golden State. It's just tough, and especially, you're not going to like this, Gilly. I love Curry. How could you watch basketball and not love Curry? You wonder if this was his last chance to get to conference finals. With the way the West is stacking up, now Dallas is going to get flagged. Who knows? Maybe the Spurs get Giannis. The Lakers have Luka, Jokic, the Thunder. Maybe he gets back there next year. Maybe they could figure something out, but it's just a bummer. I don't think they were winning it all, but I think they were very live to beat Minnesota, but not going to happen. I think Minnesota rolls.
I have no counter argument to that, by the way. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I like the Knicks tonight. And, Kelly, you brought up a good point. The fallen hero theory. There's almost no pressure on Boston now. Everyone's kicked dirt on them. Their best players are there. I wonder if they come out relaxed and play a good game. Sports can be funny that way. That being said, I'm not looking to lay points with this team with how this series has gone. And, it's always dangerous to play amateur psychologist, but you're really going to lay 4.5 points with this Celtics team after all these leads they've blown. Tatum's hurt. And he's not just hurt like he rolled an ankle or pulled a hammy. He's gone for a while. He's probably gone for next year. There's who knows what this franchise looks like going forward with all the stuff they have to pay in terms of their salary. Will Tatum ever be the same? That's a devastating injury. And now you're going to lay points to them. I can't do it. I think the Knicks, I'll take the points, and I think they have a decent chance to close them out. Those are my thoughts, at least for the games tonight.
I think with this basketball talk over a few segments has gotten me to is that I've got one play left in this round of the challenge. I think I'm waiting until tomorrow night. I don't think I want anything tonight in either of these two games. Big baseball day, Will. 17 games because we have a couple double headers and your standard 15-game slate. Where did you land on Major League Baseball's Wednesday full card?
Yeah, there is a lot. And by the way, one last thing on the NBA, I do think, and I think I texted you guys this in the group chat last night, it felt like the champion was on the floor last night when it was tied with a couple minutes to go. I just felt like whoever wins the rest of these 5 minutes is probably going to win the series and win the title the way the East is breaking out. I'm not a believer that the Timberwolves can probably win it all, so I think the Thunder probably have a good chance to win it.
Let me just riff on that for 1 second.
I completely agree with that, too. That was the finals. This series, I think, is the finals.
The one thing about that that is always in the back of my mind is, the Pacers, amazing story. The Knicks, fantastic story. The Timberwolves, amazing stories, all three of them. But as long as OKC lurks, I think those fan bases, if they're really being honest, can only get to a certain level, and then they're like, oh, yeah, but they're still around.
And you don't have Jokic. All of those teams do not have Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
And this felt like their moment. And to go back to the Warriors for a second, remember that their first title, it was 2015. They were down 2-1 to Memphis, and a lot of people were saying, oh, you can't win with a jump shooting team. They're too young. They're too this. And they got over the hump. These last two games, down 8 in the fourth quarter in game 4, and then down 80-68 last night. To be able to overcome both of those, maybe we look back in a month when they win the title and say that was their moment where they overcame all of this.
It's a great point. Absolutely. You may be very right about that. To baseball.
I did play Scooble under 4.5 hits. I haven't played it yet, but you look at the Rockies numbers and the run differential, the win-loss record, the record-setting pace. I don't think anything is as damning as the fact that they are facing Patrick Corbin in the year 2025, and Patrick Corbin is minus 260 or so. That is the worst of all. But I lay the 1.5 with the Rangers. I think we're at the point with the Rockies where you got to get a fade of them in your account somehow. Team total, run line, money line. It's not fancy. It's not genius by any stretch to just fade them, but they are that bad. And I think they're looking at like a 37-38 win season. Let me ask you, what number? They update these season win totals every day, pretty much, or regularly at least. What number would you need to see where you actually said, you know what, I'm going to bet the over on the Rockies for the season wins? What number would make you pull the trigger?
Because Fez asked the other night, he said, what should their adjusted season win total be? And I said 45.5 was the first number that came out of my mouth. But you're asking it the other way. What number would I require to go over?
32.5.
34.5. Seriously.
So 34.5. You see a 34.5. You're going to the window. You're getting out the wall. And you're betting the over.
I didn't say I would be sprinting to the window. You just asked me what I would require, and maybe I would consider it. But yes, I think at that number, If I didn't have any other bets to make, maybe I would make that. Yes.
I pictured in my head Gil just pushing a couple old ladies out of the way,
Costanza style.
Like, what are you doing? What's he doing? Where are you going? I'm going to bet the Rockies over wins.
This is free money. Come on.
I mean, this is like
I got to win 28 left. That's it.
How often do we bring it up? This is like, for me, this is that Warriors-Wolves game tonight. Like, the only bet I could consider is the Warriors plus 11. You taking it? No. I don't feel like living through that at all. No.
Could you imagine living through the Rockies thing for the next 4 months? Like, come on, 28th win. That's all I need left. They're 7-35 right now. Good God. Epically bad. Your Yankees, last thing here. Yankees leading the American League East. Comfortable 3-game lead here over the Red Sox. They're 24-18. You happy with what you've seen so far?
About what I expected. I thought they'd get more out of Devin Williams. Fried's been good. They can hit. Goldschmidt's been giving them something. Rice. Grisham's been like an all-star. That's a season out of nowhere. So probably a little better than I expected. About what I expected, but they still don't have a ton of starting pitching.
All right, Will. Appreciate it as always. Will Hill, everybody.
All right, see you guys. Thanks.
At not the Will Hill. 2 E's on the V, by the way. Jason Weingarten from Under a Cloud of Smoke. All his bets next on a numbers game right here at VSiN.
Oh, wow, look at that. Derek, what's the guarantee? Derek?
Time to make history. Millions are calling. Look for the Circa Million and Circa Survivor Guarantee on May 22nd, 2025. 2 ways to win. Millions guaranteed. 100% payback.
Your favorite VSiN shows and personalities are now available to download as podcasts. Catch every hour of our live broadcast with VSiN Best Bets, or find your go-to show and download it directly. Get instant reactions to last night's games, sharp analysis on today's biggest matchups, and everything in between. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just catching up, VSiN lets you take the action with you wherever and whenever you want. Search VSiN on your favorite podcast platform and get in on the action with VSiN, the sports betting network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The NBA playoffs obviously in full effect mode, heating up as we speak, and our partner ProfitX is offering the best odds all playoffs long. ProfitX is a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states. You'll be able to make your sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against sports books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. And once again, I will say this, I think they're underselling that. You can even request your own odds. Download ProfitX today with code VSiN. That's code VSiN and earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. ProfitX. Do yourself a favor and check it out. 40-plus states, not Nevada, though, Kelly.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating. Very frustrating. I know this was supposed to be the NBA setup for ProfitX, but I was looking at some of the golf numbers yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I want to throw a chair through the window that it's not available to us out here. Like, it is just, it's amazing. Again, I think I said this last time we did the read. In 9 minutes and 40 seconds, we're going to go to commercial break. If you don't have ProfitX and you're in a state that has it, do yourself a favor and go to the site and check it out and compare some odds.
Wow, I thought you were about to call people stupid. That's what I thought you were about to do.
What,
stupid if you don't have them. Have it. That's what I thought you were going
Well,
with.
I mean, could say that. I'll choose not to, but
That's very kind of you. Ladies and gentlemen, how about we talk some hockey? All this basketball. The hockey playoffs, just as awesome. Maybe some would say even more awesome. Do you like that debate where people are like, oh, no, hockey's better than basketball playoffs? They're both great. To discuss, we bring in AJ Scholes, who joined us last week or the week before, joined us again, editor at RotoWire, co-host of Puckcast with Statsman and AJ. You can follow him on Twitter at AJ Scholes. That's SCHOLZ 24 on the old Twitter machine. How you doing, AJ?
Doing good, fellas. I agree with you. I think both products offer great playoffs. Obviously, I'm partial to hockey, but I'll throw some NBA playoffs on there as well. They're both great content to watch.
Well, like the NBA conference semifinals, the NHL ended up here with 3 series that are 3-1 and 1 that is 2-2. Before we get to the 2-2 and the 2 games tonight, let me just ask you a blanket sort of statement. I'm going to say, okay, so Carolina's up 3-1 on the Caps. Dallas, after the Michael Granlund hat trick last night, up 3-1 against the Winnipeg Jets. And, of course, famously to folks around here, Edmonton up 3-1 against VGK. Now, if I came to you from the future and I said, AJ, one of these 3 teams, the Caps, the Jets, the Knights, one of them came back from the 3-1 deficit and won it, the answer would be who?
I think for me, it's the Jets. I know Dallas is really good, but they do have, if he can find his game, the best goaltender in the league. Connor Hellebuyck's going to walk away with the Vezina Trophy from regular season awards. He is underwhelmed in the postseason. There's no question about it, but they have home ice advantage. That certainly helps them. That does obviously apply to Washington as well, but if Connor Hellebuyck can find something, even half of what he had during the regular season, he could still steal this series for Winnipeg.
Yeah, Golden Knights, Caps, and Jets, all 3 of them, right, down 3-1, have games 5 and potentially game 7 on their home ice. So all of that is intact for those 3 teams. Now, tonight we have a doubleheader. One of them, the first one, is the one series that's knotted up at 2 games apiece, Toronto and Florida. 2-2, we're back in Toronto. Florida, the slight favorite in Game 5, obviously the slight series price favorite as well. How do you see this going tonight?
I think we're going to see Florida really try and end this in 6 games, and that means they have to win tonight. But I don't think they want to go back to Toronto for a Game 7. Obviously, for the Maple Leafs, they're trying to hold serve here. Just win at home, and you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. But I think Florida, I would expect to see a high shot volume here. It's worked for them in the last 2 games. They've put up over 35 shots in each of the last 2 and come away with wins. So expect a lot of shots and a lot early. I would look, if you can find like a first series or first period prop for shots, I would absolutely target the over on that. I think Florida comes out strong in that opening period to try and get a goal or 2 and take control of this one early.
Okay, and then Game 2, Oilers, Golden Knights. Again, if Riley Smith doesn't put the puck in with 0.4 seconds left in Game 3, maybe this is a sweep already. As it is, We're back in Vegas at T-Mobile tonight. VGK, a slight favorite. Remember, this was the pre-flop series where the Golden Knights were going to be a favorite in 4 games, but Edmonton was actually the series favorite. So we have Golden Knights as a slight minus 125 favorite tonight. How do you see this going?
I hate to say it, but I think this might be the end for Vegas tonight. They've gotten underwhelming net minding. As you said, this series was seconds away from being a sweep. Edmonton seems to have just found something. They've been able to outscore their poor goaltending, which is something I haven't expected them to do in the postseason because the goaltending's been that bad. It'll probably be Stuart Skinner between the pipes again for them tonight. His numbers are underwhelming other than that Game 4 win. But I think this might be the end for Vegas tonight. I think Edmonton clinches it to move on to the Western Conference Finals. For
my Caps fan friends over there in the DMV, is this going to be like all other Caps teams except for the one that won the Cup in 2018, which is to say, great regular season team, but it just fizzles in the playoffs? You give them any shot to come back and take down the Hurricanes?
I just think this Hurricanes team is too well constructed. It's for me, this is more of a good Hurricanes, well constructed team, and less of a knock on Washington. You know, the Capitals have gotten good goaltending out of Logan Thompson. They've obviously got Ovechkin. Dylan Strome had quite a career year. But this Carolina team is built to play with pretty much anybody. They've got a top 6 that can really produce. They've got a really deep team that can play physical. They've got defensemen on both sides, offensive and defensively minded guys. And Freddie Anderson's been playing some of the best hockey of his career. So I think this is more of a Carolina just overwhelming Washington and less of a Washington collapse like we've seen in prior seasons from them.
All right, so AJ, if we get Edmonton and Dallas in the West for the Western Conference Finals, and then we get Carolina and Florida, let's just say, sorry, Toronto fans, we'll go with this for the purposes of this exercise. Florida, Carolina in the East. Would we have, in your opinion, the 4 best teams in hockey? Apologies to Winnipeg, which won the President's Trophy.
I mean, you'd be pretty close. Dallas, I think, had some flaws, but then they went out and got Mikko Rantanen. They got Miro Heiskanen back last night. That's a huge boost to their blue line. Obviously, Jake Ottinger is one of the best goaltenders in the league as well. And I think that's what you would see kind of, you've got Bobrovsky in Florida. Edmonton's the anomaly here, but Freddie Anderson's playing lights out for Carolina, Jake Ottinger, or even if Winnipeg were to come back, you've got Connor Hellebuyck. So there's a theme here with some of the top netminders in the league being left on these teams. Obviously, again, Edmonton being kind of the weird outlier there.
Yeah, so odds to win the Stanley Cup. Stars are the short shot. Oilers right behind them, plus 265, plus 320, respectively. Then you see the aforementioned 2 potential Eastern Conference Final teams in the Hurricanes and Panthers. Leafs still have something to say about this. They're plus 950. The Jets, you mentioned, if in that scenario, one of these teams got to come back from 3-1. Which is it? If one does, you said it's the Jets. They're 40-1 to win it all. If you could only make one bet here, what would it be?
I have been on the Jets all postseason because I was on them beforehand, but I do think I'm finally going to walk away from that. The fact that Dallas has gotten just peak Rantanen through this one, and that they get Miro Heiskanen back tonight, I think, I know they're the shortest odds here, or the least return rather for you, but I think Dallas is the team to beat right now with how easily they're handling Winnipeg, how well they've been playing. And again, you can't undersell the benefit they get from getting Miro Heiskanen back in the lineup.
All right, and what about Conn Smythe, if I could ask your opinion on that? Mikko Rantanen is your short shot at this point, followed by Connor McDavid. Makes sense that both of those 2 guys are at the top. Rantanen plus 370, McDavid plus 450, Frederik Andersen plus 650. Everybody else, starting with Leon Draisaitl, 11-1 or longer. Jake Ottinger in there as well, by the way, 16-1. That's an interesting choice. Where's the bet here?
Well, it's obviously going to come down to who wins, right? But I think if Dallas does win, there would have to be some sort of huge performance in the last 2 rounds from somebody other than Mikko Rantanen. Ottinger would make a strong case if he pitched a shutout or 2, especially if it were in, the Stanley Cup final and he got a shutout or two. So if you're looking for longer odds, I don't hate the idea of Jake Ottinger. If Florida wins, I think you have to consider Sergei Bobrovsky. He's got the best odds from the Panthers right now for a reason. Actually, Barkov is slightly ahead of him, but Sergei Bobrovsky would be a good play. But for me, I think it has to be Rantanen because I'm back in Dallas as the best odds here.
All right, AJ, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime, fellas.
AJ Scholes, everybody. Once again, you can follow him on Twitter at AJ Scholes24 for all of his hockey thoughts. We'll come back. Jason Weingart will join us. But first, Kelly, 24 hours away from the PGA Championship. That's next, right here in A Numbers Game.
And we're out.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to load funds into my gaming apps.
Stormy, really, with a